to the Thursday Night GT Championship, powered by Next Level Racing, and welcome to the sprint race. So if you were watching the feature race just minutes before, there was some confusion about whether it was the feature race or the sprint race. Well, I have the info now. It was because of a mass disconnect. We had to start a new race, so you didn't miss a thing because we were on air just in time for the start of the feature race. So we watched RDF1 Adam Morris take victory in the feature race after 25 laps at the Hockenheimring in Germany. He was in second place most of the race, chasing down Gunnar Gamble. He was within half a second for the entire race until Gunnar Gamble spun in the second to last lap and spun again a few corners later and eventually retired. So a lucky win for Adam Morris, but a win nonetheless. So that's a full 25 points for him. Gaz, who was a couple of seconds behind him, eventually came in second, and Adam Morris's teammate Boy Rax R14 ended up on the third step of the podium. So that is the feature race in a nutshell, and you're now watching the qualifying session for the sprint race. And the sprint race will be 12 laps at the Hockenheimring. This is round 14 of the TNGTC. This is our 7th season, and this is a really short one with only 9 races in total. So only 5 to go after this one, which will be held at Brands Hatch, the Circuit Bugatti, the inner circuit of Le Mans, and a 2-hour endurance race at the short version of Monza. The first times are coming in. Here we have Paul Scott setting a current pole time at 1:38.7, very closely followed by Liam with a 38.8, and the other 3 are on track now, which is Gunnar Gamble, who is now in the final sector, coming into the arena. So making his way through the final turns of the circuit. The now much shorter circuit than it was originally. And Gunnar Gamble sets a new pole time with a 38.1. That's a staggering almost 6/10 difference to Paul Scott. So Paul Scott will probably come out. He still has 9 minutes to beat that time. Here's Papano, finished 8th. Coming through the final turn. And sets a time of a 39.3. Meanwhile, I'll get you some info on the track. This is the layout that has been used since 2002. And this is a 4.5 kilometer track, which is 2.8 miles. And well, it used to be a very, very, very long track, very high-speed track also. It was the original layout was like a triangle, also known as the Dreieckskurs, which is German for triangle course. But they changed it a couple of times, and it was a Formula One track for a long time, and between 1992 and 2002 it was a bit like this. At least the final sector and the first turn is still part of the old section. Oh, and Liam spins out. So it's up to Gunnar Gamble now. Paul Scott, to set a better time. Will he be able to beat Gunnar Gamble? Back to the history of the Hockenheimring. The old circuit, that was a .8 kilometer track, and that was a very, very high speed track. From turn 1, it was a huge part with only a chicane at 2/3 of it. It was almost full high speed. If you go on YouTube and watch some old races, if you want to see some great racing, watch some Ayrton Senna footage at the Hockenheimring. Great stuff he did there. But nowadays it's a lot shorter, and it got pretty hard to overtake, especially if you don't have cars that use DRS, the drag reduction system. In Formula One, of course, they use drag reduction system. In DTM, the Deutsche Tourwagenmeisters, they also use DRS, which gives you an opportunity to overtake at the long way down to the tight hairpin, which you can see here. This is that tight hairpin. But in GT3 cars, there is no such thing as a DRS system, so it's all up to the driver. And meanwhile, Gunnar Gamble is still in pole position with his 38.1, followed by Paul Scott. Liam in 3rd, Papano in 4th. And we have Knight 4001, who hasn't set a time yet. while he did not finish in the feature race. And then we have the guys behind that, Jamie F430, Boy Rax R14, Gazzer 123, Middleman 27, and RDF1 Adam Morris. They are the top 5 finishers from the feature race, so they are not allowed to qualify in the sprint race, so we have a sort of reversed grid. With still 3 minutes on the clock, almost all drivers that are allowed to qualify are out, except for Gonna Gamble. I think he has proven to be the fastest for now. He still has time to come out. If he comes out, well, within the next minute, he will be able to do a second stint. Let's get back on track with some action to see if Liam is capable of getting that pole position. He is now in the last sector in the arena, back on the all track. And he did improve his time, but just not enough to beat Gonna Gamble. So with 49 seconds to go, Gonna Gamble's, well, gamble to stay out, no, to stay in, was a good one. And qualifying is officially complete. So here we have it, the top 10. Only 10 drivers tonight out of 16. We are still looking for drivers. So if you have the chance, well, just hit us up. Send us a message here on YouTube on the live chat, or send us a private message on Twitter, on Facebook or Instagram. You can find us, just type in TNGTC and you definitely will find us on social media. You can also go to our website, racedepartment.com, go to the forums and just type in TNGTC in the search bar. You will be able to find it. My name is Frank Finch. I will be your commentator for the sprint race, round 14 at the Hockenheimring of the Thursday Night GT Championship, powered by Next Level Racing since this week. Very proud. So if you are looking for a great rig for your sim racing, check them out. Next Level Racing. They're also on YouTube, on Facebook. And if you want to see what they have for you, go to nextlevelracing.com. Alright, so now we have just under 2 minutes for the drivers to set their fuel as well as their pit strategy if they need it, because it's only 12 laps. And then we are off with our reverse grid. And here we go. Now synchronizing. The lights are on. And there we go. Gonna Gamble has a great start once again. And Liam definitely claims that second position there. Has a good exit coming out of turn 1. In the back you can see some squirming here and there. And it's Papano in the BMW in third place. Liam is very close to Gonna Gamble here. Let's see if he is able to stay close to Gonna Gamble this time. Last race he didn't do so well. Has a good exit coming out of the hairpin. The BMWs just didn't have the pace in the feature race, and the Lamborghini just proved to be very fast here around Hockenheim. It is very narrow, so it's hard to overtake, especially this last sector. Here we are with Knight currently in 5th position. Very closely followed by Boy Rax R14, who finished 3rd last race. He is looking, and Ben Millen is in the pits, so that must have been some damage. Must have had a collision somewhere with someone, although he's the only one to enter the pits. And meanwhile we can see that Gonna Gamble is slowly pulling away from Liam, who was about a second faster in that first lap. And in the back you can see Knight 4001 heavily defending from Boy Raxer, but Boy Raxer has a better exit. Nope, just tried a switchback, wasn't successful. And we have a comment on our live stream by Reason. Nice commentating. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoy the race. If you want to see more, subscribe to our channel. And we race every Thursday night, every week. We have 1 or 2 races at different tracks. Tonight it is the Hockenheimring. While the cars enter the arena, and it's now a battle for 4th. It's a 4-car battle for 4th. with, actually it's a 5-car battle. Here's Papano in third, followed by Paul Scott, Knight 4001, Boy Raxer, RDF1 Adam Morris, and Gazer 123. So there's definitely no mistakes allowed here. A simple mistake could cost you dearly. Back in front, the Lamborghini is quite fast. Once again, you can see that Gunnar Gamble was almost a second faster than Liam, which gives him a gap of about 2 seconds now. And after that, behind Liam, Papano is pretty close, and there is a 3-way battle for fifth. It is Boy Raxer, closely followed by his teammate RDF1 Adam Morris, and Knight is close behind him. And we have someone watching who actually lives close to the Hockenheimring. That's pretty awesome. I hope you saw the DTM opening 2 weeks ago. That was some amazing racing. And hope you enjoyed the same racing tonight. Not in DTM cars, sadly. Personal favorite class of mine. Let's see how Papano is doing. He's holding up pretty well against Paul Scott. Making a nice Papano train there in his BMW M6. If we go further back, you can see that Knight is holding up Gazer. Gazer, who is one of the faster drivers, has a hard time overtaking Jeremy, but no. And he wasn't able to overtake him. And just to get back at the DTM, sorry about that. I just love that class. If you have the chance to go to a DTM event, you should definitely do so. I've seen them twice in Holland at Zandvoort. Great racing. Those cars are just amazing. And this will probably be one of the last seasons with Mercedes dropping out. And they still have a void to be filled for now. But back to racing. After 4 laps, Gunnar Gamble is still leading, still faster than Liam, who is now in second and has a gap to Gunnar Gamble. Papano is still in third. The rookie of this season, doing very well in this sprint race. Boy Raxer 14 is close, but like I said before a couple of times, this track is very hard to overtake, especially without DRS. Try to switch back, but Papano is off very well from that tight hairpin. And we all know from past races that the Audi is very good in the corners, but against the BMW has a pretty hard time with that straight line speed of that big monster of an M6. Behind Benji is RDF1 Adam Morris, his teammate, both driving for the Snakes Unite racing team. There is a small gap between the two drivers now. And the second behind him is Paul Scott. Way in the back is now Ben Milton. He has a 21-second gap to Jamie at 4:30. That is because he had to make a pit stop, probably due to damage. Don't know if he spun out or if he had contact with someone else. In front of him is Jamie, also in a Lamborghini, now chasing down Knight on their way to the hairpin. Jeremy defending the inside. Jamie going through the outside, trying to switch back. We've seen in the feature race that the Lamborghini is pretty fast on this track. And Jamie made it through the inside. He's now on the outside. But the next couple of corners are inside and they have contact. And he made it through, so that's now an 8th place for Jamie. How is the train doing? Still doing very well. He's quite fast here. He's not as fast as the Audi behind him, but he is at the same pace. The other BMWs actually, Liam is only, well, just thousandths quicker. So Papano still heavily defending his position, going a bit wide there, giving Benji the opportunity to try to make a move on the outside. But it's still a tricky place. Very nice defending by Papano, pushing him wide. So he didn't have a chance to make a switch back. And Benji just took the wrong place there, but is on the inside now. Made it through. And his teammate is looking. Tries the inside, but is too far off. But Boy Raxer made it through, so made it to 3rd place. Coming into the arena. And you can see that Boy Raxer is immediately putting a gap between him and Papano. Meanwhile, if we go a bit further back, you can see Gazer trying to make a move on Paul Scott. And now they are alongside and he is on the inside, so that's his 6th position for Gaz. Gaz is our current champion, quadruple champion actually, 4 consecutive championship wins in the TNGTC. So our current champion now in 6th place, but he is leading the championship. In front, Gunnar Gamble is still leading the race after 8 laps and has almost a 5-second gap to Liam in the BMW. And he is only extending his lead, as now he is about half a second faster per lap. And in 3rd place, Benji has pulled away from Papano, who has now been overtaken by Benji's teammate RDF1 Adam Morris. So the Snakes Unite Racing boys are now in third and fourth. Behind that, you can see that Papano's definitely struggling, losing a position to Gaz, who's now in fifth place. So the Snakes Unite Racing drivers are now sandwiched by the Spam Fritos Racing drivers in the BMWs. And Papano is definitely struggling. He must have spun somewhere because his last lap time was a 1:44.3 compared to the 39s or 40s of the other drivers. So that's too bad. Hashtag that's too bad. Trying to make up and defend his sixth place from Jamie. But we all know that Jamie is quite fast in that Lamborghini. He's looking, trying to go on the outside, on the inside. So far hasn't had a chance, but he is definitely looking. Could he be making a move here in the arena? He is pressuring Papano for sure, letting Papano know that he is there, and he is trying to overtake him and take away that sixth position from Papano. Snakes Unite boys are getting closer. So Adam is looking for that third place. Wants another podium after that win in feature race here at the Hockenheimring. It's gonna be pretty tight with only 2 laps to go. Gonna Gamble has a little to fear. The only thing he has to fear is himself. He led the feature race for about 23 laps when he spun and eventually retired. So that was 0 point for Gonna Gamble in the feature race, where he could have had 25. But he is now leading the race for 10 laps, and he has a nice gap to Liam, who is in second, 5 seconds behind. So he can just put it to cruise mode and bring it home safely. Jamie has passed Papano. So Jamie is now in 6th, Papano is 7th, and they are now on lap 11. So Paul Scott has 2 laps to try to overtake Ben Milden. Still quite behind the rest of the pack. 16 seconds to Papano. There was Papano has spun. Yes, because there's a 7-second gap to Paul. So he has to be careful that Mildeman 27 doesn't come close in these last 2 laps. Ben, of course, back in 9th place after he had to make a pit stop after lap 1. And Jeremy is now last. Must have spun somewhere. You can see that he is having trouble with that Ferrari. It does have a loose end, so it's very hard to drive. Here we are with RDF1 Adam Morris, currently in 4th place. And looking to overtake his teammate, but the gap is too big. There's over a second between the two racers, and knowing Benji, he won't give up that 3rd place that easily. And we have Gonna Gamble still leading the race after 12 laps. Had a great start. Didn't spin like in the feature race and has half a lap to go. So only a couple of laps. Let's see how RDF1 Adam Morris is doing. No, still very far away from his teammate. So that won't be a 3rd place for the racer of Snakes Unite Racing. The other Snakes Unite Racing driver will be on the podium on the 3rd step. But let's go to Gonna Gamble, who is now going through the final turn to claim victory in the sprint race. There he is, flashing his lights, and victory. That's a win for Gonna Gamble. Well done, his 2nd victory this season. And he has only just made his comeback to the league. That's Liam in 2nd. Benji in 3rd. Boy Rexer, RDF1 Adam Morris in 4th. Gaz made his way all the way up to 5th. With Jamie just behind him in 6th. Then we have Paul Scott in 7th. Papano doing victory donuts in 8th. Ben Milden had a very unlucky start. Finished 9th, and Night 4001 still got a single point, came in last. So that was the sprint race at the Hockenheimring. This was the Thursday Night GT Championship by Race Department, powered by Next Level Racing on Project Cars 2 for PS4. If you like the action and want to be part of it, that is possible. We are still looking for drivers. If you want to race with us, hit us up. Go to racedepartment.com and type in TNGTC in the search bar, or send us a message on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. Also, just look for TNGTC. Hope to see you next week when we go to Brands Hatch for round 15 and 16. Hope you enjoyed it, and see you next week. See ya.